freaking out. That's a little gross. I really hope Rosie doesn't scratch at the door while I'm in here. What's up, guys? Hey, it's me. I'm back with a new video, and this time I'm actually doing a video that was requested by one of my good friends, Tanaya, who is graduating in the class of 2020 from my alma mater. And she asked me if I would do a get ready with me, but college edition for the class of 2020. Her concern was that since they lost out on part of their senior year and now transitioning into college, into this like whole crazy time where things are really uncertain, she wanted me to just talk about, she sent me a list of questions that her and some of her friends came up with. So I'm going to do my best to get ready, and hopefully you guys get ready with me too. And hopefully I can answer some of these questions to the best of my ability. Disclaimer, almost all the answers to my questions are going to be very specific and particular towards me. A lot of the questions that she sent me are very particular to the different schools you choose, to just like different personalities. So obviously, just disclaimer, everything I'm saying can be taken with a grain of salt because everything is different depending on who you are. So let's get into it. So question number 1, what all should I or should I not bring into dorms to preserve space? And what's a good way to stay motivated with your schoolwork? So one of the things that I will say when you're packing with your dorm, bring pictures and reminders of home. You don't realize how homesick you'll actually get, especially in those first couple months. And a lot of people, I feel like, underbring like decorations and photos and like mementos from home, maybe like letters that people have written you. I know like my mom and dad wrote me a letter before I left, and so I brought that and I would read that when I like was getting homesick. So definitely bring decorations. Bring things that'll make your dorm room cozy, because if your dorm room is not cozy, you will be miserable. It will feel like a prison cell and no one's gonna wind up happy. And one of the things that's good to preserve space, just especially ladies, bring things to organize things like your bras and your sweaters. I realized I had a hanging rack for my bras, which really helped me not take up space from my drawers, because most college dorm rooms come with drawers. Save your drawers for the things that actually need to be in there. Take as much as you can and try to fit it in your closet. That's probably the best thing I can say with preserving space. So, and the last part of that question was, what's a good way to stay motivated with your schoolwork? So when you're in high school, typically you can rely on other people. You can rely on your friends and your classmates who all have the same exact work as you to help keep you motivated, because in high school you're all taking the same classes, so you all have the same homework, you have the same teacher. In college, what you realize, you'll have friends from a lot of different majors who will have lots of different work than you. Some of my friends are engineers and have completely different exam types, have completely different things to do. So one of the things that is good to keep motivated is learning how to self-motivate yourself. But let's say I have a big project due. Giving myself motivation, like, hey, if you sit down for 2 hours and you do your work, we will go to a coffee shop. Like, give yourself rewards so that it's like, okay, I know this is hard now, but I can focus and I can do that now. And then later on, that stuff won't be an issue. So the second question that was asked was, since you were surrounded by different people from high school, did it change the way you acted or your personality? Now, this is a really good question. For me, I don't really think my personality didn't change. I've always been who I am, and I'm someone, since I am very extroverted, I'm not afraid to just be myself. But I mean, things change because you're not surrounded by the same people. You know, at least for me, I went to a small high school where I was with the same 137 people from kindergarten till I graduated. You're typically very comfortable with people. Like, you don't have to be new or original. People already know who you are, and that's just fine. That's just how it is. But when you go to college, you kind of have a chance to be yourself, but also just bring out maybe parts of yourself that you feel like the people from high school didn't see. Not so much personality changers, but it's just how you want to accentuate yourself. You know, college really is a way for you to not start over, because I mean, you should always be proud of who you are and like who your core personality is, but it's really a way for you to brand yourself the way you want to be branded. Like, just accentuate the positives about yourself. The third question is, how did you adjust from high school to college environment? So going to college, you're no longer like living in your parents' house. You no longer have your parents to help you cook, help you do your laundry. Like, you are very independent. So getting into the groove of managing my time wise now, instead of just, oh, in high school it was like going to school, going to sports practice, going to like show choir practice, going home, it was now, okay, when am I gonna eat? When am I gonna do my laundry? How long is it gonna take me to walk to class since I no longer have a car and I'm no longer driving to school? It was all like those little things. For me, it was like the life things, not so much like the school things, like the social things. But what was good is that once you get into school and you are able to make new friends, it gets easier because you guys are all kind of going through the same thing. The fourth question is, what influenced your college decision? What really made my decision easy for me was that when I got to the campus I decided on, I said, this feels like home. So for those of you who don't know, I go to WVU, West Virginia University, if that should have been self-explanatory, but anyway. So when I arrived in Morgantown, my older brother had already been going there for 2 years. So I had already been on his visits, I had already known a lot to offer, and I already felt comfortable there. But I'll never forget going for my own visit when I was heading colleges, and from the moment I stepped on campus, I just felt like I was home. I felt so comfortable. I felt like everyone there was there to help me, and I felt like I was safe, I was comfortable, and I was in a good environment. And for me, that was the most important thing. Is it scary to ask professors for help? No, it's not. They will tell you the first time you step on campus, they will literally tell you, ask your professors for help. In some of my freshman year classes, on the syllabus, the professor literally said, you will be dropped a letter grade if you don't come see me, if you don't email me, if you don't come visit me at office hours. They want you to come and get help. The professors are there and they have office hours literally for you to come, talk to them, ask questions, even if it's just to talk. They want you to get help. They want you to ask questions. What kind of study group / tutor options do I have? Most colleges have tutors through the university or through, if you're in any special groups. Like for example, I'm in the honors college. You can ask, and usually professors will assign you to like a graduate assistant or like a teaching assistant. If you are like really struggling and you don't feel comfortable going to tutors, usually you can meet with a student to get help. And as for like study groups, honestly, when you get into your classes, just talk to some people and say, hey, we have like an exam coming up. I'm thinking about like getting some people together to study. Do you want to come? Study group right there. So what is your major and why did you choose it? So my major is public relations. It used to be called strategic communications, but they changed the name after this year. I chose my major because when I was a junior in high school and I was deciding what I wanted to do, I was extremely torn because I had so many people telling me, do STEM. I had like my math teacher in high school telling me like you would do great at doing some kind of math field or doing engineering because you're capable of doing it. And I had so many people telling me like, that's where you're gonna make money. But I didn't like it. I hate math. I was not gonna be an engineer and sit and do math the rest of my life. And everyone who knew me knew no way in hell that was happening. So I was sitting down with my mom one day and I was like talking about how I was just stressed. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. At that point, I was visiting colleges saying I was gonna be a vocal performance major, and like I was just confused. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And so my mom were sitting down and she asked, at the core of it all, what do you want to do? Minus any careers, like what are your goals in life? And the first thing that I said was helping people. That's all I wanted to do in my career. Whatever career I had, I wanted to do something where I could work with people and I could help them to the best of my ability. I just kept thinking, like, what would be better for me than to use a skill set I already have, like public speaking and writing. I could use all of my skills that I enjoy doing to help other people. And to me, it just clicked and it felt so right. Do you recommend sororities / frats? Why or why not? Okay, it's honestly just personal opinion. So for example, if you go to a small school, like my cousin goes to a small private school in Ohio, and she's in a sorority and she absolutely loves it because that is like what their social life is. Like if you want to be social and if you want to be like involved in stuff, you join the sororities and fraternities at smaller schools because a lot of times that's how you get involved in social life and like the atmosphere is different. When you get into bigger schools, it's just a little different because there are so many student orgs and there's a lot of different outlets for you that aren't sororities and fraternities. So really, it's kind of just up to you and your personal preference. I mean, you'll hear good and bad about both, especially depending on the school you go to. Some schools have their frats and sororities have amazing reputations. They do a lot of great things. That's great. You'll go to some other schools where it's like, there's some not so good stuff happening here. Maybe you should reconsider. I personally am not in a sorority. I considered rushing for the past 2 years. I'm going to be a junior, so I've considered the past 2 years. But at the end of the day, I just didn't think it was for me. I have friends who are in them, and being in one does not change my opinion of anyone. Whether I recommend or not recommend sororities, I mean, I don't really have an opinion on that. It really depends on your school and how you feel. If you're someone that is something that you value and you really want, like that you've been dreaming your whole life of being in a sorority or being in a fraternity, go for it. There is nothing wrong with that. But if you don't and you don't feel like it's for you, no pressure. Just don't be in it. You can still have friends that are in it. It's not going to be like, oh, you're not in this club and so everyone's going to hate you. No, it's not like that. You just aren't in it. You don't have to tell anyone why. You can just be like, I just don't feel like it. Fine. Done. So definitely just make that decision based off of what you think. There's really a lot of pros and cons, and that's something you just kind of have to figure out for yourself. Was it hard to manage your time properly throughout the day? My best advice for that is get a planner. That sounds cheesy. I know you think of planners, you think about like girls sitting there with their like 5,000 different pens and markers. Literally get a pencil, get a calendar, get a planner, write down everything on your syllabus you get the first day. And check your planner every day, write down everything you need in there. So then when you go to do things, you look, you're like, oh, see, I have that. My next question was it hard to get along with your roommate if you had one? No. I mean, she might say something different because it's all based on opinion. But I got really lucky. I had a super, super awesome roommate my freshman year. What do you wish you would have known before you went to college? Something I wish I would have known before I went to college was probably that there are going to be a lot of times you just need to roll with it. There's going to be a lot of times that you're going to be really stressed and you aren't going to know the answer. There's not going to be an easy solution to your problem, whether that's a life thing, whether that's you're talking to a boy and you don't know what to do about it, whether that's you're in a class that you're failing and you don't know if you're going to drop the class or whether you're going to keep it. Knowing that there are going to be challenges that you are not going to expect whatsoever going in, but that things are going to be fine and that you just need to take it with a grain of salt and move on. It's okay to be disappointed in college, and it's okay to deal with that in whatever way you have to, because that's something, and everyone deals with disappointment differently. And so I definitely think that's something that is very valuable, especially in today's world. And I think people really need to take that forward, that there are going to be disappointing times, but you're going to get through it and you're going to come out stronger. All you have to do is be able to work hard and have your heart in the right place. What are good campus jobs? How to set up a good college budget and good apps and resources for papers and assignments? That's a very loaded question. So I'm going to, just say, again, all these things vary by the college and university you go to, especially for apps and resources. When you're in like lectures, they'll have you do these things called like clickers sometimes, where like you have to buy like an online subscription to like your phone and like to an app so that you can like answer questions in lecture, kind of like as like an attendance thing. I would say if you're deciding to get a job either on campus or even off campus, make sure it's flexible. Do not overload yourself. You might think, oh, I can take it on, but you will not know until you're in your classes and you're like, holy crap, I like can't do this right now, or like this is like too much for me at the moment. So I'd say like just take it easy. Go with a job that's maybe like a university job, so like they will be understanding if you're like, oh hey, I can't come in, I have a test, I have to study, or things like that. Because I know a lot of jobs, for example like retail and stuff, they like won't let you get out of your shift because of like emergencies and stuff. For how to set up a good college budget, so my freshman year I had a meal plan, and so obviously I wasn't spending money on like going out and getting food, because when I wanted food I would go to the dining hall or I would go to like our student union and get carry out from somewhere. So at least like your freshman year, I mean most colleges obviously they like make you get a meal plan, so that's not really like an option. But I'd say like think about the things that you do now that cost money and think about, am I gonna be able to give this up? So for example, I really like to get coffee. So obviously getting a coffee every day or even a couple times a week, that's expensive and that cost adds up. I'm not gonna get coffee, I'm gonna make my own coffee in my dorm. So it was like, okay, I'm eliminating the cost of like getting my $4 coffee every day by making my own coffee, and like doing little things like that really will help you like save money, especially if you are in a really tight budget. I hoped what I was saying was making sense in terms of like the sororities and fraternities questions and like the social questions, because really it is all about just being yourself and being able to meet people who add to your life and don't tear you down. And so I hope that you guys can take some of my words of stuff that I've experienced and are able to then translate that into your new experience this fall. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video and getting ready with me. College is scary. It's especially scary for people who don't know what they want to do career-wise, or maybe don't have a major decided. And I hope you are able to just follow your heart, be smart, and that's the key to having a great college experience. So please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see, and I'll see you guys next time.